IRG's Health Talk continues.
Our next guest is Ken Gordon, Executive Director of NWABR, the Northwest Association for Biomedical Research. COVID update, and we've had Ken on before, Shannon. It'll be good to hear from him again.
I love talking to Ken. Just his confidence and his ability to share his information is so important right now.
All right, let's hear from Ken and Shannon O'Kelly.
Ken Gordon, welcome back to Health Talk. How are you?
I'm great, Shannon. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing great. Lots changed. I mean, this is your third time on with us. We've had you on 2 times before. The first time we had you on, Ken, you were working on helping from a research efficacy on the vaccine. The vaccine was being researched, developed, warp speed, et cetera, et cetera. I wanted to bring you back on. Here we are today. The vaccine is out there. What's going on with the vaccine? What do we know? What have you learned? What are you working on? And maybe talk about what your job is again before you get into the topic, okay?
So perfect. So I'm the Executive Director of the Northwest Association for Biomedical Research. And our main role is to try and build the public's trust in biomedical research that's conducted ethically. And so, with the vaccines, we've got a classic good news, bad news situation. The good news is that Pfizer's just announced that the vaccine is now available for 12 to 15-year-olds, and there is research underway to try and bring that down to even younger age children. And at the moment, we've got 116 million people in the United States that are fully vaccinated, which is about 35% of our population, and there's about 10 to 12% of the population have had their first dose. So, we've got about 50% of us vaccinated, and there's similar, numbers and percentages in Washington state. And the really good news is that once you're vaccinated, that stops the virus from spreading. Once you're vaccinated, you're not going to spread the virus anymore. And also, once you're vaccinated, there's pretty much a zero chance that you'll get seriously sick if you are exposed to the coronavirus. But the bad news is that with the current numbers, there's about 50% of us who still are not vaccinated. And with 50% not vaccinated, we haven't got to this magic thing of herd immunity. And herd immunity, there's a lot of discussion about what herd immunity is, but basically it's the idea, it's like a firewall. If we have herd immunity, if someone does get sick, if they do get the virus, then they won't spread it onto someone else, and there won't be like a wildfire spread of this virus like there has been during this last year. And if we don't have herd immunity, then the epidemiologists are now getting really concerned that this next winter may be worse than the one we just had. And it's going to be worse because we've got higher base numbers. There's more people sick with the virus today than there was on May the 12th last year. And we're also more mobile. We're traveling in planes. We're going to more social events. We're going to sporting events. And we've stopped using our masks. And all those things combined with 50% of us not vaccinated for a potentially really serious winter. And this is a global issue also because the rest of the world hasn't got vaccinated either. And with every person who gets sick, there's a chance that they might create the variant that makes the disease more virulent, more infectious, more dangerous for us. And so this is why vaccines are so important at this time.
Wow, Ken, we've come a long way, and you always do such a fantastic job talking about, the safety of the vaccine and dispelling any rumors. Your job is biomedical research and looking at the research, the data, the safety of any vaccine. Tell us your opinion and the background in all the research and safety mechanisms that have been in place here.
So, the vaccines are safe. They have been proven safe through very large human trials. Hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people have volunteered to test this vaccine and prove it safe. And as I said, at the moment, 116 million people in the United States have had it, and most people, the only side effects are they get a sore arm. Some people have like a flu-like symptoms for like a day after the vaccine, but that's about it. They're very safe, and the thing is, I look at risks. The risk of having a complication from the vaccine, which is pretty much zero, and the risk of having a complication from the actual disease, which is really high. And there's those people who have been sick for months and months and months of this disease, and it's just heartbreaking, in addition to all those people who actually die. So that's what I think about this. The vaccines are safe. COVID is not. COVID is a horrible disease. You do not want to get it. You do not want to spread it.
More with Ken Gordon and Shannon O'Kelly next on Como.
It's a Northwest Lifestyle Weekend on Como News. Here's Tom Hudler and Shannon O'Kelly with more IRG Health Talk.
Our chat continues with Ken Gordon and Shannon O'Kelly.
Ken, again, thank you for coming back on. This is our third time on Health Talk. There seems to be this plateau. There's plenty of vaccine available now, but not enough arms to put vaccine. There is a little vaccine hesitancy out there. Mm-hmm. Talk about that, and maybe let's talk about that. Let's talk about the future of vaccines, what's on the horizon. Share some light on all those topics.
Yeah, so people talk about the vaccine hesitant, and it's actually a large group of people, and it's a continuum. And at one side, you've got people who, for various good medical reasons, can't vaccinate, and they can never be vaccinated. At the other end, you've got people who it's just not been convenient presently to get vaccinated. They want to, but it's just been a bit of a hassle. And what I'm concerned about is the people in the middle, and I call them the vaccine nervous. And they're not sure about the science, they're not sure about how quickly it was developed, and they're just a wee bit worried. And so for those people, I really suggest to them that they talk to their physicians, their doctors, people like myself, public health officials. And honestly, we're not going to try and persuade people to get vaccinated. Like, we want people to get vaccinated, but that's your own individual decision. But we want to hear your concerns, because your concerns are real. And maybe we can address some of them with information about the science and how these things were developed. What I tell the people is I firstly think you should vaccinate for yourself for the selfish reason that we know that if you're vaccinated and if you get exposed to this horrible, ugly virus, you won't get seriously sick. And that's a really important reason. I also think you should get vaccinated for the community. There are people going through things like chemotherapy and other treatments, and because of their treatments and their other medical conditions, they can't get vaccinated. And so we get vaccinated not for ourselves, but to help other people who can't get vaccinated. And again, I'm now 2 weeks out of my second Moderna vaccination. I am looking forward this weekend to having friends in my backyard without our masks on and gathering and just being together for the first time. I can now do that safely because I've been vaccinated. And that's something I've been looking forward to for several months, a year now. And so that's why I think people should get vaccinated. But, their concerns are real, and they should find someone like myself or a physician or a doctor and talk about it. And we can talk about their concerns, and hopefully we can give them information that will help them make a decision to get vaccinated.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you, Ken. As a person who personally had COVID, it is not a fun experience. And I had probably a mild to moderate case. I had some long-hauling symptoms, and I chose to get vaccinated, had my second Moderna about a month ago, and I'm very happy to be vaccinated. But I'm also wondering, what is the future?
So the future is that it's possible you will need a booster shot. The current vaccines are really good at helping people not get sick even with the variants. But as more variants pop up, we don't know if those vaccines will continue to be effective. And what I know is that there's researchers like Dr. Deborah Fuller at the University of Washington, and she's working on what was referred to as a second generation of vaccines. And what she's looking for is the gold standard. She wants something that's stable at room temperature, more effective in the elderly, gives us long-term immunity, something that's one dose, and something that's needle-free. Maybe even something we can administer ourselves with a nasal shot or something like that. That's the work that's going on in research to find a second generation, which will solve all those issues and some of the problems with our current vaccination systems.
Well, Ken, again, thank you so much for your time. And more importantly, thank you for what you do and your organization does to keep the public safe. Thank you very much.
You've been listening to Ken Gordon, Executive Director at NWABR, with that COVID update. More information at nwabr.org. And Shannon, great to hear from him. They've always got something going on, and it's great to hear that they continue to kind of try to keep pace with what's going on with COVID.
Well, it's just so nice to talk about where we're at today. I think we're all seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. Don't you think, Tom?
I think so. You can get more information at nwabr.org.